Here we are on the Recruiter Startup Podcast. Back again.
Back again. Here we are in the midst of it all.
All right. How's the end of the world treating you?
Well, it's the end of the world as we know it. I'm wearing a blazer, doing a podcast here in my office.
You're very fancy.
I'm looking a little bit fancy today. I feel fancy.
T-shirt could have been ironed a bit better, though.
It definitely could have been, yeah, for sure. 100%, yeah.
You've also you haven't gone full beard yet. Is that on the horizon?
It's on the horizon, yeah. I kind of come and let it go sometimes, so I don't know, kind of mix it up, but
yeah,
it's okay for now. Yeah, you're full beard.
My parents made some racial derogatory comments about mine. I'm not going to repeat them, but
okay, fair enough.
Essentially, they said it's time to get cleaned up, son.
Oh.
Yeah. People in stable jobs, they don't get where I'm at right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
So I'm in the US. I'm in Santa Barbara. We're waiting for a flight. The rec world the tap has shut off. There's a couple of things we have, but really we went from like having 50 interviews to everything's on hold. So it's very scary times, and we're scrambling. How's your business?
Business is, I would say, come to about a 50% halt.
What's the 50% that's working?
Okay. The 50% that's working is a lot of heavy industry, right? So heavy duty industry, obviously the logistics and warehousing space, production.
Who would have known that would be the thing that would have saved you?
Who would have known? The
bit that you've always been trying to get out of is the bit that you've got to steer into right now.
Yeah, right. It's keeping me stuck in. So I just had a call with one of my clients. He's been a client for 3 years, and he told me he needs 20 temps to start for him in about 2 weeks. And I sent him off the whole proposal and everything, because we had previously been doing a lot of direct hire only with him. But now he needs these temps, and I'm like, well, that's a lot of money for me, so let's go. So that's great. But at the end of the day too, it's just an odd scenario, because other than that, everything else, I mean, I can't talk to like sales roles at SaaS IT companies and things like that, or you can't really even approach anybody else. I mean, they won't even get back to you. So like, other than industrial, transportation a bit, where deliveries need to be made, things like that, production facilities, assembly line type stuff, even though they're still working, they're still being safe and whatnot. But at the end of the day, some of those things are still running full steam. So that's what's up. But the other 50% is really like, sales, software sales, stuff like that. Can't do that piece really, because it's not going to work out right now.
Tell me, you run a Facebook group, is that right?
Yep, correct. So I guess talking about business holistically, right? Because I have my company, my recruiting agency, and then I have the Facebook group I run, and then also do YouTube, right? And then I also teach the mentorship program, which is something we talked about in lockstep 1 year ago. I listened to our podcast, and you asked me kind of exactly my trajectory, and then I looked back and thought to myself, well, that's exactly kind of how it went down. So the program's doing fine. It's doing real good. A lot of people are being mentored, taught, learning recruiting, that are newbies, just total newbies, and learning everything from scratch and stuff like that. So that's really cool. That's the other, like, I guess you could say that's not half. Well, it's become half of my business now. So that's doing good, because people are at home and available to just do it. So,
but they don't have a trajectory to make money from it. That's the worry, right? That they're like, where's the answers? Where's the answers? And you're like, market, stop. There's no answers.
Right. So yeah, that's
do the work now that'll pay for it later.
What's that?
Do the work now that's for later. Like,
exactly. It's an investment, right? Yeah, it's an investment. You go invest in yourself, you learn, you do what you do, and then you know what to do later on, right? Even though my original hope is that, people could come in and implement as we go. say implement this, that, over 6 weeks or so, and then you're kind of ready to fly on your own. But it's not like that right now. It's more like, learn everything and then you can kind of head out on your own. And when the market clears, there'll be places and things that you can get into after
What's the
that.
general vibe in your Facebook group? Is have people gone from being like, let's joke about this to, maybe I'm kind of worried, but it's okay, I'm brave facing it, to, oh shit?
Yeah. So the general vibe is somewhere between like, I'm bracing it and oh shit. It's towards the end of that.
I'm fully, oh shit.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't gone that far just because I've tried to completely keep it out of my mind, off my mind, just not thinking about it at all. I work remote anyways. I know that disastrous things, could happen, and disastrous things are kind of looming and it's looking not good, but I'm really, really trying to focus because my thought process goes like this. Well, what am I going to do about it? Aside from the things
Firstly, have you got anybody on payroll?
No, not right now. No.
Okay.
So
Well,
thank you. No.
then that's you're able to do that.
Right.
I have to look at the people I'm feeding, and
Right.
then that's where it gets harder because I'm like, where's the runway in the next 3 months?
Right.
And how can we keep feeding them without going under? Like that's where we're at. So it's trickier, I think, being if you're just an independent. I think you're probably counting your lucky stars that you didn't actually steer into the other way.
Yeah. If I had if I had a group of staff, or temps expect what they expect. So it's kind of like, if they were furloughed, that's that. But if I had staff that I was feeding, that were working directly with me, it's a little bit of a different relationship, and having to cut those people off from getting fed, that's a real tough thing to do. And I'm definitely glad I don't have that.
Yeah, there's mass redundancies in the staffing industry across the world.
Yeah.
The UK, there's more recruiters than anywhere, and there was so many lots of job, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Terrible.
Last week, I was fielding calls, just people crying down the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. People are at that point. They're at that point. Yeah. They're so emotional. People, because a lot of people, right, live paycheck to paycheck and stuff, and that's when they earn their living in a certain way and spend their money in a certain way where they're paycheck to paycheck. And so if they get let go, they're done, or they they could be holding a sign on the corner. You don't know what's going to happen next for them. But I don't know. We can only hope for a quick recovery.
So I had Joe Mullings on earlier, and he said, cut your costs, take care of your people, extend your credit line, and get your message out there. Keep building brand, and keep doing that in the right way, and figure out a way to pivot in the meantime into wherever you can, and the money, and you will come out this the other end. So it's a good message from a powerful man on what to do and how to do it. Yeah. I actually, when I say I was fielding calls from people losing their job, I felt I did it a bit, not as much as my other competitors, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Some of my competitors have set up WhatsApp groups. Some of that's data gathering. Some of it's like we'll place you on the way up. Some of it's a bit genuine, maybe. But for me, I was like, I need to be around more positivity. So I steered into like, who is fun podcast guests? Let's get them on. Let's talk about this. Let's get a bit of optimism here. Let me see if I can figure out some things myself.
Sure.
And also know that we're not isolated. There is a community out there, and surely there's enough when it comes back for us all to get fed again.
Definitely. There'll be more than enough when it comes out that we can all get overfed, really.
Overfed.
At the end. I mean, when we look at things like, I did a video recently, and I was talking about, fear and your mindset, how you can look at things, and what your perspective is about it, because everything you have a perspective about. And so the one that I was kind of touching on is the idea that, you can look at this like, okay, everything's over, the world is done, everything's going haywire, who knows what's going to happen. Or you can just simply stay the course, right? Like, Joe Mullings mentioned, stay the course, stay focused, keep doing what you're doing, aim yourself into the money, as you are, and just keep going, right? And don't pivot away, don't change anything. Just keep the course, and eventually this shall pass. I mean, we can't sit and think like, oh, we're screwed forever, because if we have that mentality, it's going to infect us in other ways, right? In our mind. And I don't like to get Tony Robbins about anything, but it's gonna, that'll infect you in your mind, and you'll get nuts. And at that point, you're not going to be very productive at what you're doing.
Before we started recording, you were talking to my wife Charlotte about some of that stuff in terms of you're switching off the wrong media. Are you keeping negative people away as well? How are you managing that? You're on Facebook.
What a question!
For a Facebook group owner.
Most loaded question I've ever heard.
Sure, that's what the good ones are, right?
Yeah. So I've months and months ago, I turned on pre-approved posts. So right, affiliate people and yada yada can't post anyways. But there are 3 or 4 people that will consistently want to post, how's everyone doing through coronavirus, or how's coronavirus affecting your business, or this, that, whatever, all that stuff. I will just decline, because the group is meant for positivity, encouragement, learning, helping, caring, sharing, all that kind of stuff. So somebody has a win, what they want to talk about, the group, it's there to hear the win and be excited for that person. Hey, got my first deal. Hey, just got a deal for 3 orders, whatever. And what was really encouraging, there was a thread on the group that somebody said something like, I just got my first deal, they need 3 roles, and et cetera, et cetera. And this person was fresh, green, new, and people were just absolutely blasting their congratulations and things like that. And then there was another thread where someone said, hey, have you made any placements like in the past week, right? Kind of negative, just basically focusing on like, hey, you probably didn't, right? And then there were a ton of people that were like, yep, just made 3, yep, just made 2, yep, just made 5, yep, just got 3 orders, did this, that, whatever, and all kinds of positive stuff. So it was great to see that, because there's a community out there, right? And so you can kind of read that kind of stuff, and that lifts you up, to see all the people that are doing what they're doing, and and stuff like that. So it's always good. But yeah,
coming out the other side, what's your grand plan? Because I spoke to you a year ago, and you're very much where you said you'd be.
Yeah. So at this point currently, I'm just going to say it's very much very scale focused. So what I'd like to do is scale the agency, and that would be probably with some staff, and some outside help. So you can only do so much, right? So especially when you're doing multiple things. So I definitely want to scale the agency, as a huge form of revenue. It's very fun. It's great. I love recruiting. It's a rush, but yeah, so I want to scale that. And I've built the brand, solidified the brand, and it's been really, really good here in Seattle. So I want to scale that. The next thing that I want to do is then heavily scale the online learning program. So I want to, make that more robust, far more robust than it is now. Bring in a lot more content to it, add a lot more students, and kind of like pivot the model a little bit. make it evergreen so that it's a real, just a course, which is what I'm doing right now. Because previously what it had been was 6 weeks of class. Like, I'll lecture to you on Zoom twice a week. We cut that out. We made it an evergreen scenario where it's all modules. And then I do once a week live Zoom coaching. So for 2 hours, I'll sit and basically field questions, field, concerns, challenges, whatever it might be, and we'll go over them with a group, right? We're talking 15 to 17 people or so. And then what I've injected is a mentorship piece, which I really enjoy. So new recruiters that were in a space where I was, years ago, right? Not ages, but years ago. And they've started a business that they're not really fully confident about. At this point, I'm fully confident about where I'm at. And I know a lot from what I've done so far. And so for me, teaching other startup recruiters the things that they need to know to kind of get their feet wet, jump into the deep end, and then kind of go from there has been really, really cool. So being able to mentor people, once a week, hop on with a student and say, what's your biggest challenge? Well, I'm not getting decision makers, and then kind of figure it out with them.
Which is gonna go, because you're doing two things.
So what I'm probably going to do is focus, more on the mentorship program. That's probably it. Yeah. Because number one, recruitment, the agency is semi-autopilot, I would say. You kind of put it on semi-autopilot where you've got all these systems and processes in place. I mean, invoicing and things like that. Of course, business development, that's a heavy item, to handle. But if I bring in a staff member or someone that can do BI for me, or BD, and some BI, then, then I can, that's augmented, and then I can kind of keep, one eye on that maybe, or half an eye on it.
You're in dreamland. You're in dreamland.
Well,
staff are harder than you think.
I'm speaking in general terms.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out. We'll cross the bridge when we get there. But right now it's basically the agency and it's the program.
Interesting.
And what's really crazy is the program kind of has really gotten a lot of steam because, as you know, when I told you on our first podcast we did approximately a year ago, I kind of said exactly how I want it to go, and it went exactly that way. I mean, I put it, in stone. I said, this is how it's going to go. And then that's how it went. And of course, YouTube's been huge. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work uploading daily, but it's been a lot of fun, but that has blown up for me.
I must give it a check out. I haven't been on anything actually. I got tunnel focused on my own work, but now I have a bit more time in my hands.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. You got that California sun on you.
Oh.
So beautiful.
Yeah, so we've just heard that the UK's gone into full lockdown.
Full lockdown.
Full lockdown. So I get outside once a day, I think. And yeah, I suppose that's for an hour run, isn't it, or something? That's it's I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. Nannies can't come to the house, so really we're locked in the house with two kids, and we have to bounce. We're going to have to take it in turns to work. Okay.
Right.
Wow. It is life on hard mode.
Yeah. See, when they pull something like that in the US, you really don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of crazy. That's really crazy.
You've got a big military though to enforce it. So.
Yeah, that's true. We've just never seen them roaming our streets, so we don't know what it'll look like.
Give me some predictions on when and how we're going to get out of this.
I'm no scientist, I have to preface.
Well, yeah, you were no recruiter either, but you set up this. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you'll probably be running the COVID-19 by the end of it.
I'll have a laboratory the next time. The code will be white. But at this point, I think what's going to happen is it's definitely overblown by the media. I think that's a fact. I don't think you can ever dispute that. I think the media overblows everything. So number one, if you're watching a lot of media and things like that, I think you're already seeing a bigger picture than you should be seeing. Which I have, like you mentioned earlier, I told Charlotte, I'm not watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all of it, just all shutting it off because it's nothing but negativity. So my prediction is, anywhere between the next, I would say 8 weeks is going to tell us pretty much everything. 8 weeks is going to tell us if our planet is in complete beyond repair or something, or 8 weeks is going to tell us, okay, it's summertime now, everybody chill out and take your vacations. We're going to find out in 8 weeks. I think where we'll really be at. The truth will come out in about 8 weeks. That's what I think. And I'm going to say that because that's like, a longer out statement. I could say, hey, about 2 weeks we'll know where we're at. No, we're not going to know in 2 weeks.
I think in 8 weeks we'll all need to come up for some form of oxygen. It's
definitely,
like the world can't just stop forever.
No, it's not going to work. There's just no way. There's no way that'll work at all. That's why you see gun sales surging, right? People are buying ammunition like crazy. People are scared. They're super scared. They don't know what's going to happen. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, the almighty dollar rules, and we've got to keep making that. And I guess, thank God, we can work digitally, at least.
Yeah.
So at least for anybody watching, right? You've got your core basis of what you do for work. And that core basis is at home, using the internet, your cell phone, things like Zoom video. And beyond that, you don't generally have to do a lot of people to people. So, count my lucky stars, that's the basis of my work, I would say.
Yeah, same as that as well. It's funny, I'm in an interesting situation. I want to launch a tech practice. I'm in the process of doing it. It should have been done this month, to be honest, but it's obviously being pushed back a little bit.
Yeah.
And to work, but I'm getting plenty of time to work out the strategy. I'm looking at the vendor world. Probably people who support, like the vendors in the Microsoft space or the vendors in the cyberspace, kind of him and hand between that and Salesforce. They're the three kind of areas that I'm looking at.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on that as a target market?
I love it. Are you talking about supporting them with like a vendor with contractors and whatnot and all that?
Well, they usually do a lot of that. I would probably look for full-time hire, probably to do full-time hire in sales, pre-sales, sales engineers.
Sure. That's a perfect space to be in. Yeah, that's real. I mean, I don't want to say, I never say something's easy or simple, right? But it's relatively simple. I think sales, pre-sales, post-sales, etc., account management. For the tech space, like, things like Microsoft, and cybersecurity, maybe, and like you mentioned, Salesforce. I think that's a great space to pivot into. And I think if right now, like you mentioned, you're strategizing, you're planning, and you're putting it down. I think right now, what you mentioned, like even to riff on that, like right now is a great time to do that kind of thing, to strategize, to think, to
get the data, to know what your go-to-market, who's your clients, who's your candidates. Like, do you have that data? Do you have it in place? Do you have the systems in place? Do you have the people ready to do it? Can you facilitate it? Can you build a brand? Can you get into it?
Right.
From all of that. So we're putting all that together. And hopefully we can do it before we run out of money. That is as I said, it's life on hard mode. It's business on hard mode.
Yeah.
We have to, the world must go on and we must go on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think it's a really good concept. Because what I've always thought, studying recruitment, right, before I got full on into it and looking at it. And then really once I was in, kind of thinking about things and thinking, I always thought, what happens when the market crashes? Like, how does it look, right? We kind of know how it looks like in housing. We kind of know how it looks like in other areas, but recruitment.
I never thought the world would stop though.
Right. Well, yes, exactly. So we're dealing with something insane, basically. And with recruitment, I've always thought as soon as my business went under or it tanked a bit, right, I would have to tier up. I would have to find higher level roles. I would have to work on tech, right?
Yeah.
Just like you're saying, right? Same exact thing, right? You have to pivot into something that is more scarce, so it's more difficult to find, and that's just natural, right? Because who on earth is going to start to pay you to find forklift people when the world is ending and they're walking around like zombies ready to drive a forklift already for free? So it's all about leveling up, I think. And so that's one big thing. That's a really good idea that you have, though.
Yeah, here's hoping. Where can people find you?
Of course, you can find me on my YouTube channel. It's literally just my name, Ben Nader. Find me there, youtube.com/Ben Nader.
What's your Facebook group called?
The Facebook group is Six Figure Recruiters.
Six Figure Recruiters.
Okay. Those 3 words. You can find the Facebook group. Definitely join the Facebook group. A lot of community in there, a lot of good community, a lot of good recruiters, good people to learn from, talk to, a lot of positivity, and things like that. So that's my community. That's the YouTube. On YouTube, I try to throw out good content.
Good on you.
Things like that.
Always a great guest. Thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate being on again.
Hopefully I can come up and visit the beautiful city of Seattle.
Hey, I hope so. I hope the next time you're in the U.S., because it sounds like you'll be heading out. But yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you.